tried out. Oh, thank you. So, yes, my name is Justine Shyne. I am with Archer and Evolution Travel now for almost a year. I'm a platinum consultant with the company. And I'm here today presenting team retention. All right, so tips and advice from yours truly, okay, on how to keep agents on your team, making them really great leaders if they become mentors, okay, and just um, establishing resources, tools, and things like that. They're going to help operate your team as a well-oiled machine. Okay, so let's move on. All right, so I just want to introduce myself because some people might have just joined in. All right, so I am Justine Shyne, as I just mentioned. I am a former special education music teacher. I taught 7th through 12th grade music to students at a juvenile residential facility. I did that for 6 years, and then I decided, you know what, I'm done, right? I got super burnt out. Um, I just wasn't really loving what I was doing anymore. And I'm not that kind of person that wants to be miserable, so I decided to pursue other things. And lo and behold, here we are, right? That's a very short story, but that is my short story. So I'm married. I've been married since September. I have 5 fur babies. We have 2 dogs, 2 cats, a guinea pig, a little zoo going on. Um, I currently live in Ithaca, New York. My husband and I, we established ourselves here, but he is originally from New Jersey, the north part, and I am from Buffalo, New York. So anyone here who is a Bills fan, hello. Right? I have a bachelor's and master's degree in music education from Ithaca College. All right, and I've been part of the Evolution family, as I mentioned, since January 25th of 2022. I am a platinum consultant, and I started out team building in March of 2022. So about, we'll say, 9.5, 10 months at this point. All right. All right, so the first thing I would like to mention is to note that everything that I'm presenting to you today are going to be things that I have learned either from making mistakes, right? All of us make mistakes as a mentor, even maybe in our travel bookings and working with clients. But I've learned from those mistakes and have found solutions. And that's what I'm sharing today, okay? Or I've, trial and error things and have kept what has worked with my own team, right? Every team might be a little different. So again, these are just tips and advice, okay? For you to take away, put into practice with your own teams and see if it will work for you. So one thing I believe the most in successful retention of agents is this. It starts from the very beginning, guys, okay? And within your agent's first 2 weeks with the company. If they don't feel supported, recognized, or maybe not seen in their first few weeks, the likelihood of them sticking around might be kind of slim. All right. In the chat box, I want you to put for me, in your experience, when you have felt overwhelmed, be truthful, have you spent time reflecting on what you're doing, right? Because that's a key thing. If you're not going to reflect on what you're doing, it's kind of hard to put into practice new things because you might not know what's wrong, right? Have you actually spent time reflecting? Benjamin says all the time. Brittany says yes. Perfect, right? It's okay to say no. It happens, right? I sometimes get caught up where I've spent weeks and weeks doing something. I'm like, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? And then I'm like, wait a minute. I haven't even sat to think about it, right? And that's just in life too. But awesome. Yes, it is so good to know you guys are spending that time, right? Because it's only going to help support your team in the end of all things. All right, so let's continue by talking about what retention is, okay? So simply put, retention just means you're retaining something, right? So in our case, retention is the ability to keep our agents on our teams and organizations. All right. So we're going to discuss the following topics and how they relate to team retention. So number one, I enrolled an agent. Now what, right? Number two, we're going to talk about communication. Number three, we're going to talk about time management and staying sane, right? Because we have all been in that place where we might have been super overwhelmed and then we just kind of freeze, right? Like, what do I do? Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed, right? It happens to the best of us. Number 4, leadership. And then lastly, managing and organizing your team. So this is not in the order that it will be presented in. I just noticed that, but that's okay, right? So again, I'm not going to be talking extensively on these topics because, well, we'd be here forever. Okay, so these are just a few things that I feel are most important. All right. So let's start with the I enrolled an agent, now what? Okay, so taking a step back for a second, before I continue on, I want to do just a little activity with you guys. All right, I want you to close your eyes for about 30 seconds. I'm going to put a timer on in a minute, all right? And put yourself back in time to when you first enrolled with Evolution Travel. And I want you to think about this. What emotions did you feel during your first month? All right, so starting now, close your eyes. 30 seconds on my timer. I'm going to count here. Go back to that place when you hit that submit button and paid for your membership. From then on to your first month mark, how did you feel? What emotions did you feel? Okay. About 15 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so go ahead, open your eyes. I did see people put a lot of responses in the chat box. I'm gonna just read a few of them off. Let's see. A lot of overwhelmed, right? Maybe feeling lost, right? Someone says anxious and excited. Nervous, excited, maybe, right? Excited, scared, but excited, right? I can relate to that for sure. And nervous, maybe, right? Excited because your team is so supportive. That's amazing, right? And that is 75% of everything. The rest is putting the work in, right? Lost, overwhelmed, but confident. Excited and confident. Nervous and excited to start something new. Absolutely. And a lot of other people are excited. So it's all very similar feelings, right? Um, oh, Diana, you said we have mentality routines we need to unbreak, some of us. Yeah, exactly, right? I spent a lot of my life super anxious just in general, right? So trying something completely new was like at first kind of out of the question. This kind of pairs nicely with my story in general, right? Again, I was teaching for 6 years, and so to start something brand new, let alone in this case start a team of people, it can be daunting, right? Especially if it's something you've never done before, okay? So for me, I was terrified, full of anxiety. Again, teaching for 6 years, never had I ever thought about leaving teaching until I was completely burned out from it. So switching careers scared me to pieces, right? But I knew that if I wanted to be out of that situation, I had to do whatever it took so that I could get to a place where I could leave it, right? Leave teaching, that is. So now the reason I have you do this is just to remind you of what your agents are probably feeling when their first few weeks are happening as an agent with the company, right? So coming back to this slide, put all this up 1 second. There we go. How do we help them reduce those emotions of being overwhelmed, anxious, maybe terrified or scared, right? Like I was, right? So the topic comes back. I enrolled an agent, now what, right? These are the things that we need to do, just a few to help these agents out. So first, contact your new agents immediately. Make them feel welcome to the team, okay? Immediately upon being welcomed, they're gonna feel supported at the same time, right? Because they're part of a bigger picture now. Number 2, let your agents know that you are here to help every step of the way in their travel agent journey. I think, guys, that some agents or most agents think that we're just there for them when they're first setting things up. I really do, right? I've noticed a big change when I start to tell my agents, wording it differently, not just saying, I'm here for you if you need anything, but saying, I'm not just here when you're starting, I'm here forever, right? And a lot of times they're kind of taken back, like, wait, what? Really? Forever? And I was like, yeah, you got me forever. All right, I don't go away. So yes, making yourself available, okay? And number 3, if you send them an email, follow that up with a text message and or a phone call as well, okay? So really connecting with them right away is super important. Also, fun fact about emails, sometimes it goes to spam and junk, right? Or in my experience, it's actually been entirely blocked. So reaching out in 2 ways, email, text, or some sort of phone call, is going to help in opening that line of communication with them right away. Okay. Because we all know when we all first started, we had a million questions, right? All right. And then lastly, here, send your agents materials they need to get started with things. Okay. Like their travel agent certification, registering with vendors, learning how to book travel, etc. They don't all know where to find these things, right? It is our job as mentors to help them with that. And then they are coming into this knowing absolutely nothing in most cases, right? That was me. I knew absolutely nothing because I only ever was a teacher, right? I had no business experience, travel booking experience, nothing like that. I didn't even go on a lot of vacations, okay? All I had was my teaching experience for when I did become a mentor. All right, so lastly with this, teach them how to do what they need to do in order to be successful. Give them the resources that they need, all right? All right. And then we're going to talk about retention through communication. Right. And this is key in everything we do for several reasons. Right. So, first, be in contact with your direct agents on a regular basis. Many new agents are not used to working a fully remote position. Okay. For me, I had never worked a single day as a remote worker. All right. They are their own boss now, and they don't have to report to management, so to speak, right? They have you as their mentor, but not as their boss, okay? We're social individuals by nature, right? So we are built to be in communication and the presence of others. When you are working remotely, you're no longer around people in a building to chat and discuss things with, right? So as a mentor, it is so important that you are being the leader in conversations with your agents. Many times, new agents, again, we've just went over this, are nervous, scared, overwhelmed, terrified, maybe, right? And therefore, they might not reach out to you, right? They might be too nervous to make the first message out to you saying, "Hi, I'm so and so, I just started." And, I've had that happen numerous times, okay? And if I hadn't reached out to them, who knows what would have happened, right? So if you haven't heard from them, reach out to them, okay? I promise they want to hear from you. They obviously do because they want to get started on things, okay? Number two, if you have a team group chat, do not be silent, okay? Your agents see you as their leader. They're expecting to hear from you, all right? They just are. When I first started with the company, one of the only reasons I felt less overwhelmed than I could have felt was because my mentor was in communication with me. And leadership was in communication in the chats. They were active in the chats. They were providing the support needed for people to be successful, right? And display their leadership by being an active member of the team chat, like I just mentioned. So, number 3, do not assume an agent is ignoring you if they don't respond to you, right? We're all humans. We have feelings, right? If someone's not talking to us for an extended period of time, we might start to think things, right? I've even gotten caught in emotions like that. We're only human. But I say this because I've had several occasions, like I mentioned before, I sent out that email, they didn't get it, right? And I hadn't heard from them in maybe 2, 3 days, okay? Way early in my mentorship, I let it go longer. And that was a mistake that I learned from, right? So now I send them out a text message as well to make sure that they're getting the emails I'm sending them. A lot of times they're gonna say, "Oh my gosh, no, I didn't get it. Can you please send it again?" And then we work it out and all as well, right? All right. Number 4, schedule a one on one meeting with a new agent within their first week of enrolling. This is so important because, again, of the fact that we are remote workers, right? We don't get to be face to face all the time and work together. So, providing that piece of maybe having a one on one meeting via Zoom in their first week is going to create that connection as mentor and agent, right? And also getting to know each other and trusting each other on that level, right? So I meet with my new agents via Zoom at least 2 times within their first month. At least 2 times. And those are very specific meetings. That's not including other one-on-one times if they have, a ton of questions that they need that's not, an email is not sufficient, things like that, right? But I have one to officially introduce myself, right? Allow them to officially introduce themselves and also to discuss their goals. So making that first meeting all about them and their journey and what they want to make of it, right? Again, feeling welcomed to the team and feeling like they have the support and that they matter. Okay. Second, to build the second meeting, I have with my agents is to build an actionable marketing plan with them once they've set up everything that's necessary before officially marketing their business. Okay. So I guess you could call it before launching, right? And then I have a third meeting as well. And this is when they receive their first client to review with them just the booking process that Archer has, right? Because we have the 21-day booking process. We have specific things we needed to do when booking cruises, all right? And also just understanding the process of the credit card authorization form and the commission tracking form and things like that, right? So I meet with them, go over all of it, and there are a few other meetings, like I said, that might happen if they have a ton of questions and it's too much for a phone call, text message, email. All right. Next, if you have a group chat for your team or any other resources that they should have access to, communicate what those are to them. Okay. Get them connected with those resources immediately. All right. They will have additional resources that are going to help answer some of their questions rather than coming to you every single time they need something, right? Imagine someone texting you every 5 minutes when they have a question for something because they don't have what they need to get that question answered themselves, right? Of course, we can't provide resources that answer every single question, but providing them what they need is also going to teach them how to utilize those resources, think for themselves, right? If they become a mentor one day, knowing how to teach their agents how to get those resources, use them, things like that, right? And then lastly, be in the know with what is happening in the company, as well as the travel industry, and communicate it to your team. All right. So, for example, the other day we had that issue with the FAA, right? Their systems went completely down. The first thing I did, I told my team because who knows if they didn't see it, if they have clients traveling that day, things like that, right? So, me as their leader, I'm responsible for making sure that they at least know about it, right? um, and things like that. Okay, guys. So those again are just a few things with communication. All right, and this is last one is a perfect segue into our next topic of time management. Okay, so let's move on and let me check the chat real quick in case we have questions. Oh, these are nice things. Awesome. Yeah, Brian says you were skeptical to join, but then was excited and then got let down because it wasn't happening fast. And boy, did I learn patience. Yes, that's another huge thing. Even as leaders, guys, in retaining our team, patience is key, right? Not all of our agents are going to learn at the same pace at the same time and be learning all the same things at the same time. So we need to have patience with that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I see, Tracy. Okay. Let's see. Joanne. My team motto, give them a fish, feed them for a day, teach them to fish, feed them for a lifetime. That's wonderful. I agree. Yes. All right. So coming back to this, now we're going to talk about retention through managing and organizing your team. Okay. So first, ask agents to assist with admin tasks, especially if you have mentors as your direct agents or on your team in general, right? So I have agents who volunteer to help with training reminders, assisting with questions in the chat, hosting trainings, right, in topics that they're really comfortable in, organizing the daily schedule, and a few more things, right? This allows your team to be a well-oiled working machine. All right. You, the leader, can't do everything. If you put it on yourself to do absolutely everything, you're going to get burnt out so fast. So fast, I promise. Okay. So teach your mentors how to successfully operate their teams as well by asking them to do these kind of tasks. Because at the end of the day, once they become maybe gold, EVO 100, EVO 200, and then on, they need to know how to support their entire team organization. All right. Number 2, setting boundaries for group chats. Right? If you have one, right? Make sure a tone has been set and stuck with. You want it to be a positive environment, okay? So on my team, my agents know that they are going to go to their mentors first for questions and seeking guidance, right? The mentor is the first point of contact. Then if their mentor says, hey, I'm not available right now, if you need help right now, please go to the group chat and then we'll get you help there, okay? You want your team chat to be a positive space so that they feel comfortable going there when they need to, okay? And some people are like, well, when do I do a group chat, right? So for me personally, I started a group chat for my team when I was between silver and gold, somewhere in there. I forget exactly when. All right, I started my group chat then, and it helped a lot with beginning to build team mentality in a supportive environment with my own team organization, right? Number 3, keep track of your account and structure of them. So I've included here a spreadsheet for you to utilize. All right, make sure you make a copy first, or else you're not going to be able to edit it. All right, so if you're not familiar with Google Sheets, you're just going to go to File and make a copy, and then you should be able to edit from that. All right, so that is for you guys as a teacher, right? I have to give resources. It also has an area on the spreadsheet for inactive agents, okay? Because it's always a great idea to reach out to them in the future. This is another great retention thing. But let's say, for example, for me, I had an agent leave back in August, okay? But once a month, I cycle through and I email inactive agent and just say, hey, I'm still here. If you want to come back, you're welcome back with open arms, okay? And oh yes, just the links. That makes sense, right, guys? You kind of need the link. Oh goodness, 1 second. Thank you, guys. That would have been awful. So this is what it looks like. All right. I have very basic categories here. Again, you can add what you need. Oh wait, let me give you a different copy because I have one for. Maybe that was the right one. Never mind. Let me give this part out because that is for my team specifically. Sorry, my internet's a little slow today. All right. If you guys ever have a hard time hearing me, just put it in the chat, okay? Because it does happen sometimes. But all right, so there it is for you in the chat. So go ahead and open that. You can take a look at it, add, again, go to File, make a copy, and then you can add things, take away, whatever you want to do with it. All right. But so, like I said, keep track of your account and the structure of them, okay? Especially if you're trying to get to gold, EVO 100, 200 platinum, okay? Like I said, there's an area for inactive agents, and that's what I was talking about, yes. So there was an agent I worked with all the way back in August. She decided, not right now, okay? And so I kept note of that. And a few months later, I was like, you know what, let me reach out to her and see. And I did that with a bunch of other agents as well, sent that out, and I had 3 out of, I think it was about 7 or 8 I had emailed come back to the company because they were like, you know what, then wasn't the time, but now I feel supported and recognize that you actually reached out. I want to rejoin. I enjoyed working with you before because of your leadership. Now I want to come back. All right. And that was huge. I was like, oh my gosh, what? Yes. Oh, Glendale, I'm sorry. What did you send out to the inactive agents? Just an email saying, if you want to rejoin, here's how. And also what I do is, if they say, no, I don't want to come back, I just say, all right, well, feel free to come back to me if you ever need travel services, right? So I've had agents sometimes become clients, which is pretty cool. All right, Case, let's keep going. So, number 4, keep track of your team goals, okay? For travel booking and mentorship. So there is a whole team vision that everyone is working towards, okay? So I independently have my own goals for myself of where I want to be as a mentor, where I want to be with my own travel bookings, but then I have a whole other document for my entire team's goals, okay? Number 5, have a resource for storing trainings, okay, that your agents can have access to. Not everyone can attend live trainings, right, because of life schedules. So it's important to make sure that your agents still have access to the trainings they need to be successful, all right? And then lastly, maybe consider, if you don't already, having a welcome packet for your new agents to receive once they have enrolled, okay? So provide new agents with the instructions they need to get things set up successfully and begin to gain clientele to book travel, okay? All right, let's keep going. Next, we're going to talk about time management, okay? So I would like to start with this. Your agents work with you, okay? Not for you. And the opposite is true as well. You work with your agents and not for them. So the whole point of someone joining Archer and Evolution Travel, let's remember, is to be your own boss, right? You get to set your own work schedule and have time as well as financial freedom, right? So time management is going to be huge so that you, again, do not get burnt out and don't feel like you're being walked all over, okay? So, number one, set time boundaries with agents right away, okay? If you tell your agent that you need 24-hour notice for a one-on-one meeting and they come to you asking, I need that meeting now, I need to meet tonight, then remind them of the boundaries you've set and stick with them, okay? That's what good leaders do. Yes, there is some room for emergencies, okay? But if it's not an emergency, stick with the rules that you have set forth with your timing of things, okay? So we are all adults here, all right? And we have respect towards one another's boundaries, and we need to remain in that to be successful in what we do. All right. Number two, have a set schedule and length of time for when you are able to have one-on-one meetings. For me, I am both a travel booker and a mentor. My time is very precious. Regardless if I was in both worlds or not, my time is precious, okay? Therefore, I only meet in 45-minute increments with my agents. Otherwise, my travel bookings begin to suffer, and that's not fair to my clients nor my own goals in business, right? At the end of the day, yes, I'm a mentor, but I also run a business, okay? Number three, inform your team of what your hours are for answering questions. Hours, right? Or helping provide guidance, right? So this is outside of having those one-on-one meetings where you might have, a set Calendly schedule you send out to somebody and say, hey, pick a time for this, right? This is a little different. Right? Establish your boundaries of time right away with an agent. On my team, my agents know that I am not going to answer them past 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on weekdays, okay? And that I only schedule one-on-one meetings on weekdays unless their life schedule doesn't allow for it, because sometimes people work overnight shifts during the week and sleep during the day and need the weekend to do this, okay? And so, yes, of course, I will accommodate that if needed, okay? My agents also know that I need to be given 24 hours notice if they need to have a one-on-one meeting for something. And lastly, guys, number four, it is okay to take a day off, all right? Or an hour off if that's what you're comfortable with. And of course, to go on vacation when needed, okay? And when you're doing that, that's when communication comes into play as well. If you decide you need to take a vacation, make sure your team knows, okay? Don't just be silent for a whole week while you're gone. You're going to lose a lot of people during that time, okay? Where the heck is my leader? I don't know where they are. Oh my gosh, who do I go to, to ask questions and things like that? And then your group chat might start blowing up, and then it just gets kind of crazy, right? So when you show your agents that you value time, they also learn how to value their own time. Okay. Remember that you are their leader and they look up to you and want to learn with you. Okay. It is similar to how maybe a child looks up to its parents, okay, for guidance throughout life. We are providing critical mentorship to these people who want to be successful in their own businesses and in growing their teams. So, how does this relate to team retention, right? Ask yourself this. If you are allowing your agents to take control of your time, how do you expect to have time for A, yourself, B, to continue building your team, and 3, to not be exhausted and burned out within your first year or less with building your team? All right? Make sense, everyone? With this piece, any questions so far? We still have a couple other things to get through, but I want to take a break for a second. Any questions? Oh, let me see here. I lost my place. Oh, here we go. Did you type your YouTube in the chat? I gotta head up. I want to finish it later. Oh, no. So for me, guys, my YouTube is Vacations with Justine. All right, very simple. That's my business name. You can find me everywhere on that, or just look up my name on Facebook. All right. You're welcome. All right, let's keep going. No other questions, guys? We're good for now? Oh, you guys can't unmute. That's okay. Put your questions in the chat. All right. I'll give it 1 minute in case. Sometimes questions get delayed, right? So between when I ask and when they show up. No? Okay, I'm going to keep going. If I start to see questions, I'll come back. All right, so now let's talk about retention through leadership. First off, in the chat box, I want you to give me just a few characteristics of what good leadership looks like. All right, like maybe 2 to 3 words. What is a good leader? What do they look like? What are the characteristics? Oh, I see. Okay, Joanne, you want to hear more about balancing between building and booking. I'm going to have a Q&A session at the end of this as well, right? We're almost through to the end. We have, I think, 3 more slides, and then we can dig into that a little bit, okay? And then Benjamin, is it good for teams to work in an office setting rather than remotely? I mean, there's pros and cons, right? But I think as working remotely as a team, there's many ways that you can still feel connected as if you did, as if you were in a physical office building, right? Okay, here we go. So Joy says good leadership is honesty. Of course, yes. Trayvon says leadership. Of course, yes. Gabrielle, trustworthy, clear, compassionate, empathetic. Absolutely. Sarah B, available, patient, positive. Glendea, patience, consistency, and kudos. Dana, teamwork. Ashley, attentive, responsible, knowledgeable, patient, and caring. Being approachable. Absolutely. All right. And then Joanne says consistency, my word for the year. Awesome. Yes. Super important to be consistent as a leader, of course, in all of the areas that I've, talked about so far, right? Merlia, empowering, advising, coaching, communicating. Let's see, Trayvon, being considerate. Benjamin, I forget how to pronounce this word all the time. Don't make fun of me. Stoicism. I hope I said that right. So for those of you listening, it's Stoicism. Okay. Merlia, my word of the year is balance. Great. Awesome. Consistency. Yes. Wonderful. Thank you for that. All completely true and accurate. Okay. So now coming back to what I have listed here. So all the previous slides have related to being a positive leader for your team, right? But here are a few specific things related to leadership. So first off, maybe start hosting trainings for your team if you're not already, okay? When you do this, it solidifies the fact that you are your team's leader and they're gonna see you as that, all right? When I started doing trainings, I noticed the same thing. I started to notice that people stuck around longer and they started to actually communicate with me more and in my group chat with my team more as well. So it helped to build team mentality as well, which was really interesting to me. So this also builds trust with them that you are knowledgeable in this business too, right? So let's say you do a training on maybe a specific part of marketing, your agents see that you're doing that and they can trust that you know what you're talking about marketing because you're hosting a training, right? A ton of people attend that from other teams potentially, all right? And that you're able to help them in the areas of building their business, of course. So I get it, it's scary to be on camera, right? But guess what? Leaders are the people who step outside of their comfort zone, even when they might be ready to pass out in doing so. So guess who was deep breathing before this call? Me, right? It happens to everyone. You get stage fright, you might get a little freaked out. It's okay. You just kind of keep going. You got to do it. All right? Get through it and it gets better. Second, always congratulate your agents on their successes. First bookings, large bookings, maybe their first group booking, raking up as a mentor, becoming a mentor, just to name a few things, all right? In your heart of hearts, if your gut is telling you to congratulate something within someone, just do it, all right? Nothing bad is going to happen if you just go with it, right? So this has a twofold purpose. A, the agent's going to feel recognized and more motivated to continue on, right? And then B, it allows other agents to see that they can reach their own goals, and have as much or more success, okay? Number 3, edify your agents when the opportunity arises, or your fellow leadership, okay? When you introduce a new agent, when they host their first training, maybe just to name a couple examples of when you would want to edify somebody. Number 4, continue to attend trainings. Leaders do not know everything all the time, okay? A good leader is one who continues to learn not only for themselves, but for those around them that look up to them for guidance. When I was teaching, it was so important that I kept learning because, quite frankly, what I was expected to teach sometimes I knew nothing about, so I had to keep learning. Okay. Um, 5, have a monthly goal for your team, both with travel booking and building your team. This creates a unified vision for your team, and you will notice people stepping out of their comfort zones to assist your team in how it operates. Okay. Number 6, communicate important news and announcements, including the trainings occurring on a single day. All right. Again, just to name a few things. Number 7, make an effort to get to know who your business partners are. Okay. I hold once a month full team meetings, both with my team as a whole and also with my mentors specifically. All right. I also spend time getting to know each one of my agents, my direct agents, in our one-on-one meetings. So I'll maybe spend the first 5 minutes just kind of having general conversation so I can learn more about who they are as a person, because that is super important. Okay. This builds team mentality, right? And deeper trust from your agents in you as their leader. Okay, let's see. Oh, Gabrielle says, so right. I've been learning that as a tutor, and it is so enlightening. Yes, I'm not sure what part you meant, but yes. Awesome. All right, so now what, right? We've talked about all these, what was it, 4 or 5 different topics. Oh, Gabrielle, you said the part about learning even as a teacher leader. Yes, continued learning, of course. Got it. All right, so now what, right? We've talked about all these different topics, and how do we move forward with all of this information? Okay, so I hope you guys will participate in this activity I have for you. So let's do some reflection and goal setting just to close out this meeting. Okay, grab something to write on or open up a notepad on your phone, whatever you can grab the quickest, of course. All right, so number 1, I want you to write down 1 team goal for travel bookings and 1 goal for building your team. Okay, for those of you who are not a mentor, if you were to be a mentor, what is going to be one of your first goals for building your team? All right, so that's number 1. Number 2, you're going to follow that up with writing 2 to 3 actions you will do for each goal to ensure it's completed, because we all know a goal with no action is not going to get done, right? I tell people all the time, maybe when you're setting a goal to lose weight at the beginning of the year, a lot of people want to do that. New year, new me, let me work on, how I physically look. Okay, well, you said you were going to do it, but when are you going to do it? And how are you going to do it, right? Making it an actionable goal is super important. So number 2 is critical. Number 3, write down when you're going to complete each action for your goals. All right, so as you're doing that, even if you want to share them in the chat, go for it. That's totally fine. All right. I know for me, I do this once a month. Okay. I put my goals together once a month in both of those areas, and I have full year goals. Right. So we just started the new year, right? So if you haven't set your goals yet, start getting it done, because you want to have a vision as you progress through the year. Now is the best time to do it. All right. Oh, Trayvon, you said talk to people, start conversation. Yes. Are you talking about your goals? Is that what that is? Gotcha. Okay, good. Yes. So good. So those are 2 goals for yourself. Now, what are you going to do to complete them? All right. Let's see. Benjamin says, book my first cruise and event using my commissions to pay for the fees of administration. Awesome. Perfect. Awesome. So with that being said, guys, with all this, I hope after all of this and taking note just on the things that I've put into practice, that I've shared with you, my hope is that this will help you feel more confident about retaining your agents. If you're not a mentor currently, my hope is that this is giving you some tools to start with. Okay. Sometimes things can be a trial and error phase, and guess what? That's okay. All right. You're going to learn in the process of trying these things out, and you might need to mold them to how it fits your team. Okay. Because again, not every team is the same. And you have to learn by making mistakes sometimes, right? So I want to leave you with this. Give yourself the credit that you deserve for the work you have done so far. All right. You are doing very important work by stepping up and teaching others how to successfully be a travel agent and run a business with people of varying experience levels in doing this. Okay. Sometimes people have zero experience. So it is such a huge thing that you are teaching people with all of these different, I call it walks of life, right? Coming into this business. So always remember, guys, to reflect on how you are doing things and be willing to accept advice and constructive criticism from others, right? It's one thing to accept advice, but it's a whole nother thing to be someone who can accept constructive criticism, all right? So thank you so much for attending today, guys. All right. So now, if anyone has questions in regards to the topic of retention, you're more than welcome to ask. Go ahead and put those questions in the chat. All right. And I see people have put more of their goals, which is awesome. Oh, we already have a Q&A question. Perfect. So Joanne, let's see. Need to know how to balance announcements and info overload. I don't want people to turn off Telegram because I tell too much each day. Yeah, so Joanne, I mean, I'm sure that there's a balance, you know. Every 5 minutes, you don't want to be putting something in your chat, maybe, or every 30 minutes necessarily, but it's still good to get important information across. Okay. So, you know, reflect on that and see what you can maybe change if you even need to change things. All right. Oh, good. You got the, this is awesome. All right. You're welcome, guys. Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming. Absolutely. Okay, and then you have a question that is part of team building, but not part of this topic. So Sylvia, go ahead and ask, and then we'll go from there. Okay, no problem at all. Joy, how to move the person attending, let's see. Oh, how to get someone to enroll, essentially, right? And I suppose you could say that's part of retention, right? Getting someone to actually join your team and then keeping them on your team, right? Of course. I think it is all about being personable and connecting with a prospective agent, right? I always try to make a point in answering them, even if they email me saying, I'm going to enroll tomorrow, right? I'm not just going to leave that alone. I'm going to say, awesome, that is fantastic. I'll be in touch tomorrow if I don't hear from you by X and X time, just to make sure things are going well, right? Just touch base, even with the tiniest things, okay? It makes a huge difference. Oh, yes, and then balance with booking and building. So, time management is the biggest piece of that, all right? What I did once I started becoming a mentor and building my team and having really consistent clientele, I have a very set schedule for myself, all right? From this time to this time, I'm doing one thing. From this time to this time, I'm doing another. And I also each morning create about 3 to 5 bullet points of a list of things that have to get done that day, right? And I have another list of things that would be nice to get done and things that could maybe wait a few days. So being organized and managing your time that way is going to be huge with the balance of those two worlds. Let's see. Sylvia, you were approached by someone. Oh, I see. Reach out to your mentor. Okay, Sylvia, reach out to your mentor. Ask them what the process will be for getting that person enrolled with the company. Okay, you're welcome, Kimberlyn. Yes, thank you. Oh, Mary. Let me see. Maria, I see you have your goals here. Awesome. This looks great. Yes. I'm just quickly reading that. That's very good. Awesome. And you're welcome, guys. Yes. Awesome. So for those of you that don't have any other questions, you are free to head out. Thank you so much for attending. I greatly appreciate your time. All right. I will stick around for 2 more minutes if anyone has quick questions. All right. And then I am going to go ahead and end the meeting. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Letitia. Yes, that's very nice of you. Thank you. Let's see. GMC Fadden. No, there's not. Let's see. Last question. What is the company inquiry number if mentor is not available? You could definitely check in your upline in the back office under my team. All right. Glendea, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. Have a great evening, guys. And it's Monday, right? So you have the whole rest of your week to really put these new goals you have for yourself into action in, retaining your teams and practicing those things that we just learned about. All right. Awesome. You're so welcome, guys. Yes. Aw, Sharon, that's so sweet. Thank you. Aw, thanks, Ron. Gabrielle, I concur. I love that. Yes, thank you so much, guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close out this meeting again. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and have a great evening.